This is the motion filter for the iPhone. With both photographers and videographers, ND filters are a staple that they would never dream of leaving behind for a shoot. With iPhone creators, it's not any different. The SANDMARC Motion Variable ND filter allows you to adjust your iPhone's camera to any environment. Its main function is reducing and controlling the amount of light that enters into your camera's sensor. This allows you the ability to capture long exposure photography and add cinematic motion blur for filmmaking. When shooting outside during the day, sometimes the direct sunlight and reflective glare will make your photography and videography suffer, because it causes parts of the image to be overexposed or look harsh. With the SANDMARC motion filter, you can improve dynamic range by controlling the light entering the camera, aiding in a natural progression of light to dark in your photo or video. Our motion filter is made with premium multi-coated glass, which will make sure you're taking crystal clear, high-resolution photos and videos, while also preventing scratches and abrasions while you travel. Our multi-coated glass is also referred to as anti-reflective coating, a series of layers on the inside and outside that minimize lens reflection and improve clarity. The exterior frame is made entirely of aluminum, which makes it highly durable, but also extremely lightweight. You can simply attach your filter to the iPhone with the provided clip-on mount by screwing the filter onto the clip and then opening the clip to slide it over the camera lens. Then, you're ready to shoot. On the motion filter, you will see different ND levels, ND8 through ND64, to give you flexibility in adjusting the darkness levels. The higher the ND, the darker it gets. Purchased separately, you can also attach the filter to one of our cases as well. For example, this is the SANDMARC case. Simply attach the motion filter to a step-up ring, purchased separately, then mount it to one of the points of attachment on the case. Screw the filter onto the aluminum threading at the front of the case, and with a few quick twists, you're ready to shoot. You can also attach the motion filter to our lenses by screwing the filter onto the threading at the front of our SANDMARC compatible lenses. The front of the filter has an adjustable wheel, which increases and decreases the light given off by reflective surfaces. While shooting, you can adjust the filter and see how much light will hit the sensor as you spin the wheel. It's all about finding the balance between detail and color deepening. See how the water in the sky become even more blue, and the details in the clouds become even more visible? The harsh sunlight is softened, and it allows you not to worry about overexposure. Here we see the filter being used to create motion blur to the moving car. This creates a more cinematic image by taming overexposure without sacrificing the correct shutter speed. To get the most out of your iPhone camera and motion filter, we recommend shooting with a third-party camera app. Currently, we recommend Pro Camera for photos and Blackmagic Camera app for video. Both these apps offer full control over your camera's ISO, shutter speed, and many more settings for the perfect shot. Before we show you why ND filters are essential for properly exposing your image, we have to cover some photography terms first. The exposure triangle includes shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. They all have different ways of controlling the amount of light entering into your camera. Shutter speed is the length of time that the camera shutter is open to expose light. It is measured in fractions of a second. A slow shutter speed is good for low light situations and for capturing videos with smooth motion blur, while a fast shutter speed is good for capturing clear moving objects like filming sports. Aperture is an opening in the lens that dilates like an eye, letting in varying degrees of light. The wider the opening, the more light is able to enter in, and vice versa. ISO is the method of electronically increasing or decreasing the sensor's sensitivity to light. However, the higher the ISO, the more unwanted gain and noise you will see in your image. When it comes to iPhone photography, we only need to worry about shutter speed and ISO, because the camera's lens is so small that we don't have the ability to adjust the aperture. When using Blackmagic, you can adjust to automatically balance ISO and shutter speed to properly expose your image. The problem is that when you do this, it breaks the essential rule of thumb. Your shutter speed should always be double your frame rate if you're shooting 24 frames per second. In Blackmagic, if you lock the ISO and move the shutter speed to 48, you can see clearly that the shot is blown out. This is where ND filters become essential, as they block enough light for you to properly expose your shot, while also still maintaining the correct shutter speed, even if it's a clear and sunny day. You'll most likely have to adjust the wheel on the outside to find the proper ND level to fit each environment. To illustrate how motion blur looks on different subjects across varying shutter speeds, you can look at these two videos. On the top, where it is the correct shutter speed for 24 frames per second with the ND filter attached, and on the bottom where it's 24 frames per second but the shutter speed is compromised to fit the ISO. The top video has motion blur and looks very natural, giving a cinematic movement to the ball going from each hand. On the bottom, it looks more electronic, or too focused, or too sharp. Looking at each one individually, you can see that the blur from the top video makes the ball look like it's moving more organically, while on the bottom, you can see the ball moving in every frame. The motion filter is certainly not just for videos, it works great with photography as well. This picture is a good example of using the ND filter to capture details in the bright sky while maintaining tons of details in the foreground below it. Without a filter, it's kind of an endless battle of trying to balance the overexposed sky and the underexposed foreground. Here's an example of how the ND filter can assist with capturing motion blur photography. Take a closer look at the flow of the water. Here is another example of the light trail shot in low light. To capture shots like this, we recommend using a third-party camera app like ProCamera. We hope this video helps as you try your new motion filter, and if you have any questions, drop it in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and happy shooting!